After you appreciate one of the best platforming sections and some of the best music the game has to offer, it's time to stop this thing from crashing into the ground. Before you hit this encounter, there will be 3 more lore collectibles to grab. Follow along on screen to get the rest and complete that ghost shell triumph. The other secret chest will also be shown on screen. Team composition here should focus on overload captain destruction and crowd control if you think you're going to be overwhelmed. Warlocks with Phoenix Protocol spamming wells will work, any stasis subclass is fun, but there is no actual boss fight here, so you have some more freedom here than in a typical boss fight. Weaponry is the same thing, although close range weaponry is encouraged due to the small arena. Even overload captains can be brute forced with swords. This encounter fits the Bungie bill in that it is a precursor to the final fight. The mechanics you will learn in this fight are heavily used in the next, which is why this guide will feature both fights. You're familiar with the operator and scanner buffs, and we'll go over what they do in this encounter, but new to the party is the suppressor buff. The roles are a bit simpler this time around. How about the goal of the fight? Well, the goal here is to dunk several waves of nuclear cores into one of 4 deposit boxes in the center of the room and then escape. So let's review how to get to that point. The arena is set up as such. On each side of the room, left and right, will be 2 nodes where nukes can spawn in from, one on the far side walls and one up on a catwalk towards the center of the room. Taniks will be at the front of the room, immune and shooting you for the entire fight, while countless enemies will be spawning in at a pretty constant rate. There will almost always be something to shoot at. The main mechanic here is the nuke. Nukes will spawn every so often and must be placed into the correct node at the front of the room. This is where the operator, scanner, and suppressor are going to come into play. So let's talk about those roles right now. In this fight, the operator has one of the easier jobs. When nukes spawn in, it is the goal of the operator to shoot one of the panels that is lit up red where the nukes will spawn. Fortunately, 3 of these 4 panels will light up, so you are guaranteed to see a panel light up on whatever side of the arena that you are on. These 3 panels that are lit up will spawn nukes, so whichever one you shoot will not spawn a nuke. Try to shoot one of the panels on the outside of the arena if possible, so that players don't need to run as far in order to grab one. If you only have the one option, then just shoot it, it's fine. The scanner will be telling the players who are holding the nukes where to dunk them. At the front of the room are 4 drop locations. 2 of these will be lit up, and spoilers, those are the 2 that you dunk the nukes into. Feel free to make up whatever callouts work for your team here, L1, R1, close far, front back, whatever works. The suppressor is new and has a significant role. It is their job to suppress Taniks. Suppressing Taniks is important because you cannot drop in nukes if Taniks is not suppressed. In order to suppress Taniks, you must shoot him while standing under each of the 3 floating orbs in the room after nukes spawn in. One is in the middle of the room, and the other 2 are on the left and right sides of the arena, up on platforms. Taniks will glow an incredibly bright blue color, and you only need to tap him once to remove his shield per ball for a total of 3 hits. One more thing. After every nuke drop, one of the 3 buffs will be disabled at random on a player. Whoever gets their buff disabled needs to drop it off at an augment terminal located around the room. I just use the ones on the far sides, and someone else needs to grab this buff. You will not be able to pick up an augment buff for 45 seconds after dropping yours off if it is disabled. The point of this is to keep people on their toes and make sure most people know what each of these roles do. Finally, let's talk more about the nukes. Nukes will explode after 10 seconds after spawning in. If no one grabs one and the timer runs out, it'll explode and you'll all die. Picking one up will start giving you stacks of radiation. Hitting 10 stacks of radiation will kill you. Fortunately, people can take the nuke from your hands in case you start to hit higher stack levels. However, radiation falls off very slowly. It will take a while to reset back to 0, so trading off on who picks up nukes is going to be a little important. Okay, now that you know all of the components, let's put it all together. When you start the encounter, tons of enemies will start pouring in. Just kill all of them. The buff vandals will also be spawning in at this time, operator, suppressor, scanner. After a brief time, you'll hear an alarm. This signals the spawning of the nukes. The operator is going to shoot one of the glowing panels to stop 3 from spawning. 2 nukes will instead appear. Anyone besides the suppressor should pick them up. This is approximately when the overload captain, along with 2 other major captains, will spawn in, so just be ready for those guys. The scanner will call out which 2 nodes the nukes need to be dropped into, while the suppressor bounces around the room, shooting Taniks to stun him. After the stun, nukes can be dropped into their nodes. Finally, one of the 3 buffs will be disabled on a player and must be dropped into a terminal to switch it to a new player. You are going to repeat this process 6 times. Here's an example of a cycle of this fight.
Oh my god.
Careful for the boss, he's up again. Put surrounded on this gun, TBH.
Suppressor should be coming up soon, get ready.
Alright, Seeky, what do you see?
I see front close to Taniks.
Both close, both Taniks? Both far.
Careful, Taniks is under one of those suppressions.
Both far.
Both far? Okay.
Both far.
Both far.
Taniks done.
Stun, I got far right.
Yeah, Donk's done.
Placing a well.
Free fall.
Did you guys kill the overload?
Operator.
Did you guys kill the overload?
Yeah, overload's there.
I just-
After the final nuke drop, the floor in the center of the room will open up. Be quick or be dead here. You actually need to pay attention to this because if you don't make it to the end of the hallway fast enough, it's a wipe. Once you make it to the final room and the door closes, you are clear. Well, you're clear in that you beat this raid encounter, anyway. You're going to crash land on Europa right back where you started, as a matter of fact. I've always said, what is a raid but a giant lost sector? Anyway, here is where you will fight Taniks, and I just realized the word mechanics rhymes with Taniks, so this is going to be a fun one. Team composition here should be weighted towards wells and wards, with hunters using Nighthawk for bursts of damage on the boss. You could use Stasis or Shadow Shot here for safety, but I don't think it's really needed, although Shadow Shot can provide some bonus damage on the boss during boss DPS. Weapon-wise, wouldn't you know it? Slug shotguns are the talk of the town. Things like First In, Last Out, which is returning to the loot pool on November 24th. The Raid shotgun, the Chaperone is definitely the most well-known, but maybe not the best. You also have Bone Chiller, which is new with Beyond Light, for you to go get. However, to make slug shotguns work on this boss, you need Lunafaction boots for the range bonus. Divinity will also make things a little bit easier and give you that huge damage boost on the boss, but you need Lunafaction boots. If you don't have Lunafaction boots, then stuff like Izanagi's Burden and an auto-loading grenade launcher will do alright, maybe a legendary sniper with Anarchy as well, or Whisper, or Xenophage. But right now, it is tough to suggest anything other than slug shotguns with Lunas and Divinity, to the point where some people are running double slug shotguns, with one of those being the Raid Shotty, with auto-loading holster on one of them to swap back and forth. What a world. The goal of the fight is to, again, dunk in 4 nukes that Taniks will be holding in order to make him vulnerable to damage. Split your team into groups of 2 before starting the fight. Let's talk about the arena you'll be fighting in. There are 4 sections that you need to worry about. My team has called these sections Spawn, which is next to the raid flag, Blue, which is towards the left, and Orange, which is on the opposite side of Spawn. The last section is the center of the arena where you'll be doing your damage. Additionally, the first 3 sections all have 2 nodes to dunk nukes into for a total of 6. Callouts for these can be whatever you want, however, my team adopted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 as our callouts, 1 being the node closest to the spawn, and then going clockwise until you hit 6. Again, the Operator, Scanner, and Suppressor buffs will be present. Operator will spawn by the raid flag side, aka spawn. Scanner will spawn in the blue section, and Suppressor will spawn in the orange section. In this fight, the Operator's only job is to dispel detainment bubbles that Taniks will cast during his nuke phase. Simply shoot the shield to take it down. The Scanner will be looking for the 2 nodes that are lit up yellow to determine where nukes need to be dropped into, while the Suppressor will have the same job as before, performed in the same way by standing in the circles and shooting Taniks. These will make more sense after we go over Taniks mechanics. Speaking of which, let's review some of Taniks mechanics. Taniks will start in the middle of the arena, firing his gun and just being a nuisance while you fight off waves of dregs and captains. Eventually, Taniks will make his way over to one of the 3 corners of the arena, and his 4 nuke-based weak points will become vulnerable. These will glow bright orange. During this phase, giant beams of purple light will start spawning. After a few seconds, a lot of damage is going to come in on those purple beams, so it's best to move out of those beams of light. You'll want to shoot the nukes that Taniks has glowing to stop his attack and to progress the fight. If you're new to the encounter, I highly suggest doing 2 at a time, and eventually you can make your way to breaking all 4 at once if you're feeling confident. Note that if you do go for the 4 break, you simply drop the nukes in all nodes that the boss is not close to. So if the boss is in the orange section, you'll drop in nukes at spawn and at the blue section. After the nukes drop to the floor, again, you will have 10 seconds to pick them up. They function the exact same way as the previous encounter, except now you'll probably want to make sure you are trading nukes between players, as the walk to the nodes can be pretty far. Most of the time you can just do this on the fly, although if you're the suppressor or operator, focus on getting your job done first before helping others. This is where the operator's job comes into play. Taniks will cast 2 waves of detainment, immobilizing one of the nuke holders in a shield until it is shot off, then doing it to the other nuke holder. Shoot it off to free them. It is wise to stay away from bomb holders until after these detainments go out, as anyone nearby will also be trapped. The suppressor should waste no time stunning Taniks, as the same stun rule for dropping in nukes applies here as well. You'll be stunning Taniks after the second detainment. The 3 orbs you need to stand under to shoot Taniks to stun him will be on the side that Taniks is on. Each side has its own 3 orb system. So if he's on the spawn side, you will use the spawn side orbs to stun Taniks. If you only dropped in 2 nukes, which is what I imagine most teams will do, Taniks will eventually shuffle his way to another side of the map and do the same thing. The scanner will need to locate 2 more nuke drop nodes, as they will very likely change. Otherwise, everything else is the same, including the fact that Taniks will disable one of the 3 buffs yet again, which should be swapped immediately. After dropping in 4 nukes, Taniks will make his way towards the middle of the map, creating a donut-shaped safety zone from which you can deal damage. Get too close to Taniks and you will die. Get too far out and you won't be able to deal any damage, and or you'll get killed by the debris that will be spinning around you the entire time. Standing too close to the outer ring as it spawns in will knock you back a significant distance to the point where you could die from fall damage, so don't get too close. After this donut shape is revealed, step inside the ring, drop your wells and wards, and start dealing damage. If you're using Divinity, the crit sphere that you will make will be underneath Taniks, otherwise go for the head if you don't have Divinity. After a short amount of time, he will launch everyone into the air, just make your way back inside the ring safely. After another short amount of time, the phase will end. However, if you dropped in all 4 nukes at once, you'll get even more time to damage Taniks, and if you're capable of doing this, you're likely in a position to one-cycle this boss. Taniks can be one-cycled even without doing 4 nukes at once if your damage is good enough. If you don't get Taniks to final stand, this process will repeat itself. Taniks' final stand is where he will teleport to the 3 main sections of the arena rapid fire. After, I want to say, the 5th teleport is when he will wipe the raid, so make sure to kill him before then. Once Taniks goes down, you will have beaten the Deep Stone Crypt. During the entire raid, you'll be given Spoils of Conquest, which you can use to buy additional copies of guns and/or specific loot caches with specific loot in them. Guns and armor cost 20 spoils, while these specific loot caches cost 60. But these caches can give you items that you haven't gotten yet. A nice way of snagging an extra item out of a run. As always, here is a full cycle of the boss to see it all in action. If you enjoyed this series, a positive rating is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you at the next raid.
Dude, it bubbled, idiot.
Wink.
Yeah, this raid shotgun is actually insane.
What's our sides here?
Both sides.
Okay.
Both sides.
Oh, my damage is also probably
Oh,
inflated. as well?
Saying
Okay.
side both, because both sides sounds so big. What side? Both sides.
Thank you. I'm getting left.
I have only 3, so
I mean, semi.
I can probably bank it.
I could have just taken it, but
Detained?
Run, please.
stun.
Boss stunned.
Cool.
I think I see when he puts out that next suppression.
Yeah, you can totally see.
Swap scanners around.
Would you?
Oh my god, I hate this ball. What the ball always spawns in the spot that there's like 17 enemies in front of it, and you kill all the enemies.
Both spawn.
Oh, he's coming over here, Semi.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is
Both spawn.
both spawn.
I'm Rowan's buddy.
I can grab first. I'm just gonna go for left.
Second.
Sith grab. Again.
Okay, I'm Semi's buddy.
Wait, what?
Detained
I've just been grabbing if I don't have suppressor.
right now.
What's your radiation sneak?
Wow, that's really
6.
close.
You can take it now. Just take it now.
Alright. Stun, boss.
Get off.
Boss stunned.
Do we have
Yeah,
a...
you need to hit a shot. I'm trying to make one right now. If I didn't literally, ball on me.
Coming to Datto. You're over there.
What if I just stand here?
There's your answer, I guess.
Approved.
That hurt.
Something just pushed me forward. Okay, weird.
You ready for the boop?
That's far.
Whoa!
Alright, used almost all of my ammo, so
How much are your
Nice.
slugs hitting it for?
29 on my kinetic.
Same.